What's up guys, how are you guys doing? In this video, I want to do a quick video talking to you guys about which character you guys want to select from this selector right here, okay? This is mostly for newer player, okay? We just got this selector today, and yeah, I'll go over all the character and I'll do a quick like tier list of how you guys should be going about picking the character, okay? So if you guys, this video is specifically for people who don't have these characters, okay? If you guys already have the characters, you guys can go for dupes of whichever you guys want, okay? But for newer player, it's kind of important to pick the right character here, okay? So if we look at the list here, right? Also, you guys know they added all the season 2 characters in here as well. Of course, Diana and Mari, they won't be included, right? That makes sense, right? Also, Serena, she's also limited, right? So those three are not included. But outside of those three, everyone that came out so far is in the list, right? Okay, so again, we're gonna combine both of them, right? The season 1 cards and season 2 cards, okay? And we're gonna talk about which one are like best to pick up, okay? Like tier wise, okay? So I think the first character you guys want to pick up from this list is probably Tifera, okay? This character is so broken, okay? This character, she could provide you with draws, she could provide you with a bunch of AP. You get up to like 15 plus AP with this character here, okay? She's very, very strong. And if you want to use her as a DPS, you guys can do so as well. She could do some insane amount of damage, okay? So Tifera probably the number 1 choice here, okay, to pick up, okay? She's very, very strong, okay? And I think second character is still gonna be Veronica. Veronica, she's so versatile, guys, and you guys can do so many things with her, okay? She's very, very strong, okay? Even she came out with the game and she's still absolutely broken, okay? So Veronica is the second character you guys want to pick up, all right? So tier wise, it's gonna be number 1 is Tifera, number 2 is Veronica, okay? Number 3 is I am gonna go for 9, okay? This character, she's supposed to be a tank character, but her damage is insane, okay? Everyone uses her as a DPS character, but if you want to build her as a tank, you guys can do so, and she could also build as a counter unit, okay? So if you want to set up a full counter team with like, let's say Magna, Amir and 9, you guys can do so. That's a crazy counter team you guys can do, okay? She could do counter, she could do full-on shielding mode, or she could do a full DPS mode, okay? So she has 3 different builds you guys can do with her, and she's very, very, very strong, okay? By far the strongest character so far, beside Mari, okay? If we talk about damage-wise, Mari probably got the highest... sorry about the noise, guys, okay? So, but if we want to talk about like damage-wise, Mari got the highest damaging capability out of all the characters in the game, okay? Followed by 9. I think 9 can do some insane amount of damage as well, okay? So yeah, so 9 very, very strong. When you use her as a DPS, you mainly want to be nuking with her, like in a turn you set her up and you nuke every turn, okay? She's very, very strong, okay? And third character I am gonna mention is probably Narja right here, okay? Narja, very, very strong character, okay? She's a support character that could reduce cost of your cards, and if you get lucky and you get divine epiphanies, you guys can actually turn her into a draw support or an AP support, okay? So she's very, very strong character, very, very good character, okay? She's by far one of the best character in the game, okay? And next up after Narja, I'll say it's gonna be Orlia, okay? Orlia is gonna be number 4 ranking wise, okay? She's very, very strong. You guys already know. I already explained how Orlia works in the previous like video, but yeah, she's one of the best support characters as well, okay? So yeah, those are my top 4. And then if we keep going, number 5, I am actually gonna put Melin, okay? So Melin, very, very strong character when it comes to damage dealing, okay? She's very, very strong, okay? So Melin is gonna be my 5th character. So far tier wise, number 1 is Tifera right here, number 2 is Veronica, number 3 9, Narja number 4, Orlia number 5, Melin number 6, okay? So Melin number 6, very, very broken character, okay? She's amazing. The way she works is she stacks up like her a bunch of hits on one of her cards, and once she have like enough stack of like hit counts, you use that card and she's gonna be doing like a nuke damage, okay? Very, very strong character. I'm doing a brief explanation of how she works, but you guys already know how she works, I think, and there's a lot of other videos explaining how she works, okay? But Melin, very, very strong character, okay? Number 7, I am actually gonna give it to Chizuru right here, okay? Chizuru, amazing DPS cards. Okay, she works similar to Melin, but Chizuru does take a lot longer to kind of set up. But the good thing about Chizuru is you can use her nuke damaging card any turn you guys want. Okay, but for Melin, the one difference is Melin, she want to use her nuke setup on the turn she got. Okay, if the turn ended without her activating her biggest damage dealing card, she's gonna lose all the stack. Okay, but Chizuru, her card does have retain effect, so since it got retain effect, you could stack a bunch of hit and damage on it, and then nuke whenever you guys want, okay, or whenever you guys feel ready, because that's the biggest difference. But Melly, she have to nuke on the same turn, okay, as she set it up, okay, because her card does not have retain on it, okay. But damage wise, I think Melly definitely can put out some crazy damage. But if you guys give Chizuru enough time to set up, she could definitely do more damage than Melly, okay. So yeah, you could these two are interchangeable on the ranking, but I think Chizuru comes a little after Melin, okay, just because Melin is a lot easier to kind of set up as well, okay. But yeah, those are my characters. Okay, so after Chizuru, who I am actually gonna put Calipe afterward, okay. Calipe, I was gonna put Magna here, but Calipe is just so versatile, so I kind of want to go Calipe before Magna. I think Calipe is a little bit better than Magna, but you guys can definitely, depending on how you use her, Magna can be a little higher than Calipe, okay? But for me, I'm going for Calipe on the ranking. And then after Calipe, it's going to be Magna, okay? Calipe is just like, she's a very good DPS character plus a tank, okay? She could provide you with so many shields, and she could do some crazy AoE damage, okay? So I think Calipe is very, very good, okay. And then after Calipe is going to be Magna. Magna is pretty much a counter attack relying tank who also provides a bunch of shield and crystallization and stuff like that, okay. So if you guys want like a pure like tank, yeah, very, very good right here, okay. Magna is definitely one you guys want to go for, okay. Very, very strong character, okay. And after Magna, I am actually going to put Rita, okay. Rita, the reason I put her a bit lower on the ranking is because of how she plays, okay. She doesn't have a lot of like, team to kind of like make her work a lot better, but with somebody like Tifera and Nine, she works really well with them, okay. And she's meant to work with them because she came out right after these two, so she's meant to work with these two. But Arita, like character-wise, she's very, very strong, the DPS character, but that can use her cards with her own AP supplies, okay. She doesn't use the traditional AP in order to do her stuff, okay. She could provide herself her own like AP supplies in order to use her skill, and she could do some crazy amount of damage, okay. So Rita is definitely a really good DPS character, but I'll put her a little bit lower since there are a lot like easier characters to use than her, okay. And then after Rita, I'm actually gonna put Yuki, okay. So I'm gonna put Yuki after Rita, okay. Yuki is when she came out, she wasn't that good, but she received a bunch of like buffs and stuff like that, and now she's actually in a pretty good spot, okay. She's pretty much a dedicated like AoE DPS character. You guys can build her with a single target DPS if you guys want to, but most people use her. So yeah, she's a dedicated DPS character, and you definitely can get a good use out of her, okay. So very, very good character right here. And after Yuki, I'm actually gonna put Haru next, okay. Haru is also another really good character when it comes to DPS, but she's mostly single target DPS that like to spam her Anchor Shot card, which is like her main damaging card. And with that damaging card, she could spam it multiple times if you have like dupes on her, okay. I mean dupes, yeah, dupes, like if you got her to a E2, yeah, she could spam her Anchor Shot for like pretty much 0 AP cost, okay. And she could do some crazy damage, and there is a build you guys can do with Haru where you could add the retrieve Epiphany on her like Anchor Shot stuff, and she pretty much just, she could just spam that shit in like a turn, okay. She could use it probably like 5 times at least in one turn, okay, and she could do some crazy damage, okay. So Haru is definitely come after Yuki, okay. And then after Haru, I am actually gonna put Rin. Rin is she's a selfish DPS character, but when she is doing damage, she actually does pretty good damage, okay. So yeah, very strong single target DPS character, and probably my favorite character in the game. I like her design, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, Rin, comes afterward, and then we have after Rin we're gonna put Renoa. Okay, the reason I put Renoa over like Luke or Hugo is because Renoa is, a lot of people use Renoa a lot more than Luke or Hugo. Okay, she's very versatile, and she also works with like, you know, discarding bullets cards and stuff like that. So she's a really good teammate for like somebody like you know what I'm saying, what's her name, Diana, or even Hidemari. Okay, you guys can use her with Hidemari. She's very good with her. Okay, so yeah, Renoa, very good single target DPS. That's very versatile. Okay, especially in like a bullet spammer like comp. Okay, and after Renoa I am gonna put Hugo. Hugo, when before on season 1 and stuff like that, he was actually one of the top tier character. Okay, but now he fell off. Okay, he, not a lot of people use him. He pretty much, his main thing is he relies on doing extra attack after you know, as another ally uses a skill. Okay, so when they use a skill, he uses his follow-up extra attacks to do damage pretty much, right? And yeah, because to do those extra attacks, he does need his comments, the hunt stacks. So yeah, very interesting playstyle and different playstyle than most of these characters, but he's very good. Okay, he's pretty much similar to like bullet spammers. Okay, but instead of you activating his attack cards, he activates his own attack cards. Okay, on his own. Okay, because when a unit uses any skill attack cards, he follows up with his own attack cards and yeah, does damage pretty much, right? And after Hugo, we're gonna go with Luke. Luke is also another character that received a nice buff, and he's actually really good now. He is pretty much a bullet spammer, similar to Renoa, similar to Diana and stuff like that. And yeah, he could do some pretty good damage as well. Okay, and if you use his brother like called Lucas and stuff like that, you guys can make a really fun team with him. But very strong character as well. Okay. But he's not one of the top characters. Okay, and then lastly we're gonna put Charon. Okay, Charon, just his playstyle is just very uncomfortable. Okay, not a lot of people use him. Like if you guys check like YouTube and stuff like that, not a lot of people use him. Okay, when the game first came out, he was actually pretty good. You know, a lot of people were experimenting with him and using him, but now nobody uses him, unfortunately. Yeah, his playstyle is just weird, man. And yeah, I think Charon being last is kind of makes sense, right? So let's do a quick rundown of the ranking. Okay, the first top tier character, Tifera. Okay, Tifera is very strong. Next up is Veronica, and then after Veronica it's gonna be 9, and then we're gonna go with Narja. We're gonna go with Orlear afterward, right here. You got Melin or Chizuru, right? You guys can swap those two because they are very similar playstyle. Okay, so if you guys want like a longer setup to do a big nuke in one turn, yeah, in one turn you guys can go for Chizuru. But if you guys want to do you know, consistent like nuke damage every turn, Melin is probably the best one to go for. Okay, so these two can swap, but if you guys personally, I'm go with Melin first and then Chizuru afterward. Okay, and then after Chizuru it's gonna be Calipe, then Magna, then we're gonna go all the way to Rita, and then we're gonna go all the way to Yuki, then Haru right here, right? And then we're gonna go for Rin afterward, and then we're gonna go with Renoa, and then Hugo and Luke, and lastly Charon. Okay, so those are my personal like lists on which character you guys should pick up. Okay, so yeah, let me know what you think about this tier list. You guys agree or not? But yeah, thanks for watching, and of course don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye bye.